Hello and welcome to Gross Commission, Truth in Real Estate Brokerages, where we help you understand the truth about the real estate brokerage industry so you can make smart decisions about
Today
your
on
real
our
estate
podcast,
career,
we have
earn more
April
money,
Sphrintz,
and keep more
and
of
she
the
is
money
the
you
creator of
make.
the Generosity
This is Kevin
Culture,
Cahill.
a
And this
business
is Lisa
accelerator
Cahill,
who helps businesses turn around and scale using the principles of the generosity culture. April is located in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and she works internationally with companies utilizing the generosity culture. April, welcome to our podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the generosity culture.
So the generosity culture is something that was really given to me in an interesting way when I was very young and developed into the way that I led my life and then ran my businesses and did my work. And it's based on pouring into your employees, your clients, and your community. And by focusing on those three things, you can't help but be tremendously successful.
Well, I agree 100%, especially when we're talking with real estate agents or if we're helping home sellers and home buyers with their homes. We're deeply embedded into the community. So tell us a little bit more about how you envision pouring into employees, or whether it be real estate agents, their clients, and the communities that those real estate agents serve. How do you see the generosity culture being something that real estate agents might embrace?
Well, I'll tell you that the reason that I start with employees or the people that you happen to work with in your business is because by starting there, not only are you making an incredibly strong team for your real estate office, but you're also modeling to those folks on your team how they would then pour into clients. So just like we teach our children based on what we do more than what we say, you see that there's really a lot of learning that happens that way. And I actually have a story when it comes to pouring into your community that will probably really resonate with realtors. And that is how I chose the last person who sold a home for me. And the last home that I had for about 10 years. And I received an email. I got on an email list for a local realtor, and he wasn't the person that I'd worked with before. But as you know, South Florida, hurricane season, he happened to send out emails to the local communities, and he gave a bunch of hurricane tips for, okay, these are some things that you'd want to do to take care of your home. And I was a homeowner recently, had a pool, had not had one before, and he happened to give tips for how to drain your pool, or that you should. And I thought, oh, dear goodness, I don't know how to drain my pool. And without even thinking, I just replied to his email and I said, hey, how do I do that? Like, not even thinking. And he is literally the most prolific realtor in all of my area. And he wrote me right back. And he said, if you call the person who cleans your pool, they'll know exactly how to do it for you. And if they can't help you, email me back and I will come by and do it for you.
Wow.
And I did call the person who took care of my pool. He explained it was very easy to drain the water out of the pool, no problem. But I decided then and there, and it happened to be 6 years before I sold my house, he will sell my house. I will do business with him. And then when I went on to purchase yet another house, called his office again, because that made such an impression on me that someone who I knew was that busy took that time out for someone they weren't doing business with.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. I'm impressed.
That is a really good story.
It is. And real estate agents would do very well to give before they ever really ask for anything in return.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like farming when you think about it. You plant all these seeds. You really don't think about which one is going to be the carrot that I want to eat. But by planting them all out there, you have this bountiful harvest. It can't help but at some point return to you. And candidly, before I did business with that specific realtor, I recommended him to 5 or 6 other people. He probably has no idea that came again from that generous offer of helping me with my pool.
It's amazing how there is this domino effect in the residential real estate business. And I know that you think very highly of the importance of referral and repeat customers as well. He set the stage to earn those opportunities by starting off by being generous.
Absolutely. And I think the important thing that I would say for anyone who's in the real estate business is when you are offering that help and it's obvious that there's no expectation of something coming back to you, we as individuals feel even more inclined to, gosh, I wish there was something I could do for Bob. I wish there was something I could do for Susan, because that was amazing. They were so impactful to me.
Well, the reciprocity kicks in and people feel, well, he did something for me or she did something for me. I'll find a way to do something back. It's a subconscious thing perhaps at first, but then all of a sudden somebody says, oh, we're thinking about selling our home. And then you're there with a recommendation for somebody who started off by being generous, treated you in a very wonderful way. And what's interesting about it was he had a mission and a plan for sending out that email. It was to create opportunities for himself, but he did so by making an offer that was not necessarily going to be immediately something that he could harvest.
Well, and I will actually say that I disagree there.
Okay.
I disagree that he was looking to create opportunity for himself, only because having met him and interacted with him, his first instinct is to help, no matter what it is. And I think that those end up being the most successful people, the ones who are looking to help and then they just can't, I'm way overusing the word help, but they can't help but be financially successful. And I think that was definitely the case with him. And I think the fact that I could feel that, because prospects and clients can feel your intent. And when they can, man, do they become loyal. And they really become those raving fans that we all hope to have in our businesses.
Lisa, you often say that desperation repels.
Yes, desperation repels and abundance attracts. And when your abundant mentality with your help to other people, you're just going to attract people to yourself.
100% agree, Lisa. Could not agree more.
So in terms of how the generosity culture helps business owners by them helping their employees, and how we as real estate brokerage owners might help our real estate agents, how do you envision business owners being supportive and generous to their employees? What does that look like inside the generosity culture?
I think many, many times it looks like time. When I first talk about this with business owners and CEOs, they tend to run for their wallet because you say generous and people see dollar signs. And I often say, I'm actually asking for something much more valuable than your money. I need you to invest your time with people. And it's time to understand who they are, what's important to them, and what they really value. So when we think of the terms of real estate and having a brokerage, you might, if you haven't poured into your employee, think that the most important thing to them is the amount of money that they make. But if you take the time and understand them as an individual and what's important to them in their life, and find out that it's actually work-life balance that's the most important thing to them, then you understand how to bring them opportunities that line up with that, right? You can have this amount of work for this really big sale, and that will give you more time with the same amount of money to go spend with your family and your hobbies and things like that. So by pouring into folks, you not only help them by empowering them to get the things that are the most important to them, you also set yourself up for success as a leader because you can motivate them in the ways that are really powerful and meaningful to them.
Absolutely. And it is not always about the money. It's not always about the money to home sellers. It's not always about the money to home buyers, and even to real estate agents. It's just one segment of the total equation.
Absolutely.
And I agree with you that time is the more valuable component of anything that we do. I mean, if we're going to invest our time with an agent, helping that agent have success, if we're going to invest our time with a home seller or a home buyer with their efforts to sell a home or buy a home, we can't get those minutes back, no matter how much money we got paid on the other side of our effort with them. And in the same way, I think that if you have this generosity culture with your independent contractor real estate agents who work in your brokerage, then that actually extends on to the customer who we don't get to interact with directly. Our agents,
absolutely.
they're acting as ambassadors for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we can treat them the right way, then they're going to treat the customer the right way.
Absolutely. And when you think about the fact that a happy and fulfilled employee is looking to spread that happiness and fulfillment to whomever they interact with, you're just setting them up for success, which ultimately will benefit you as well.
And so often the flip side of that is just as detrimentally true.
Oh, absolutely.
That agents who are struggling and not getting the support that they need from their brokerage doesn't feel like they want to do something that they otherwise should do for a consumer. And so then all these little pieces get shaved off, and all of a sudden it's a poor experience for the consumer or a failed process for the consumer. They didn't get the home they wanted. Their home didn't get under contract in the time frame they had hoped.
100%.
So tell us more about the community and how that trickles down into the community and how that plays into these areas where real estate agents work and live.
Well, I think that for most successful real estate agents, they know that ties to the community and strong involvement in the community is a great way to get their name out there and to have people understand who they are. So their giving in the community really has a direct tie back to their business. Whereas I think in some other companies, it can be a little less direct of a correlation, because many of us, like I know you and Lisa are living the dream, Kevin. Like this is what you want to do. This is your purpose in life. But there are other individuals maybe who decide to be an agent or who are on an agent's team. This isn't their dream. It's a job. It's the way that they take care of their family. However, if they know that the work that they are doing is also benefiting their community, be it local, regional, national, international, they then have a different sense of purpose and a sense of contributing that can really give them that feeling of being pulled out of bed to go to work versus, just dragging themselves into their home office or wherever it is that they're going. It was interesting. In 2018, a Great Places to Work did a study and found that individuals who thought that their company was servicing their community, no matter how regional, local it was, were 13 times more likely to want to go to work. Can you imagine the level of motivation that 13 times the way they would show up normally, what an impact that could have on our businesses? Why wouldn't you want to do that and give them that sense of fulfillment, benefit the community as a whole, and also reap the rewards of happy, motivated employees?
That's a staggering difference.
It's huge. It's monumental, if you ask me.
And how do you help companies then implement strategies or approaches that would help them achieve a 13x increase in employee engagement with work and with the work that they do and with the effect and impact that their work has on their community?
So it starts with leadership. When I work with a company, I have full buy-in, whether it be a company owner or the C-suite and all of the leadership team, because they know that we are going to start with giving. We're going to be pouring into employees and really taking the time to have those meaningful conversations that a lot of leaders and managers think they don't have time to have. But the truth is, they don't have time not to. Right? So once we start doing that and really integrating those principles with the employees, what you find is the employees are a fount of ideas for how we can do things better for clients. And so it really becomes this great symbiotic relationship where you're pouring into your employees and they're helping you better pour into your clients, which then makes it even easier for your company, whether they want to donate from a time perspective or a financial perspective, whatever it is that they want to do to pour into the community is now funded by the other activities that you've done because they can't help but generate more business. And what I've seen with companies, which is amazing and almost sounds too good to be true, is that once you start implementing the principles of the generosity culture, whether you have an inside sales team or a ton of money that you spend on marketing, however it is that you're getting prospects in the door, You can almost stop doing that after a year because you're able to get so much business based on the impact that you're making to current clients who want to do more business with you or who want to refer other folks to you.
Lisa and I were discussing that last night on our evening walk, how at first we plowed a lot of money into our advertising effort. And then we didn't really throttle back the advertising spend so much. We just realized we don't need to spend that much, and the phone still rings like crazy. We realized that we must have planted a lot of incredibly good seed into the ground, because here it is years later, we're still getting the opportunities that much earlier investment dollars covered.
It's the momentum.
Well, and I would argue much earlier investment, service, and generosity covered, because it's something you did that can make that powerful of impression that it would come back to you that much later. And that to me says a lot about your business and the way that you treat people.
Well, I appreciate you encompassing all that, because I agree. It's not just that we had this advertising message. It was that we had so much success again and again. Word kept going, word kept spreading. People who were satisfied kept passing the word along to other people, like you would with your friend who offered to come over and empty the pool if you couldn't get
right.
And it's amazing that we have created unstoppable momentum. That flywheel, like Jim Collins talks about in his book, Good to Great, we started pushing on the flywheel years and years ago. Now we can't get that flywheel to stop. It's just going.
Nor would you want to.
Nope. We're like, how many flywheels can we get going, all doing the same things in different market areas for us?
I love it.
Stay tuned for more. You're listening to Gross Commission with Kevin and Lisa Cahill. We invite you to subscribe to this podcast and visit our website, www.reallean.com, for more information and resources.
Just watched about half of your interview with Jack Canfield. That was really cool.
We were joking with Jack Canfield how funny it is that real estate agents express to consumers the importance of owning your home instead of renting your home. But then they'll spend their entire real estate career renting their brokerage rather than owning their brokerage.
It's really interesting, because it's really best for a real estate agent to have their own brokerage. They can make money. And the whole industry is built around, these big brokerages making so much money off these agents. And they've kind of brainwashed them in a way where, you can't go out on your own. We do this, that, and the other. And it's really not that big of a deal. Kevin and I went out on our own so that we could do things the way we want to do. And, we had to replace 2 6-figure incomes when we went out.
Quickly, right?
Yeah. And we did it by changing the way that everybody does things, doing it our way.
We've had a sizable impact in our local market area where obviously, we're not the biggest gorilla in the local market area. However, everybody has to compete against our low fees. The consumer.
Well, and I think more than those fees, right? The concierge service, because if it was just low fees, it would be super easy to compete against you, I think, right? If the service isn't there, I'd say, yeah, you can get them. They're the cheapest and you're going to get what you pay for. But when you combine that with the kind of service that you do, I would think that you guys are tough to beat if people know about you. And that would be the one thing I would be depending on. Please don't let anyone else tell me about them.
Yes, we are very comfortable with getting our messaging out locally. And even just this past Sunday, I got a phone call from somebody who said that he had a real estate agent to help him with his home sale, but he was interested in one of our listings.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I'm glad that you have an agent for your home sale. I would like you to know that when we work with home sellers, rather than charging the typical 6%, we only charge 4% while providing full service. And if we're the only agent involved in the sale, we lower our fee further to just 3%. And if you'd like to talk more about that, at least now you know. And he was like, well, how soon can you come over and look at my house? It's not difficult when we say it's full service, lower fees. Oh, and even lower fees are possible.
It happens all the time. We have one of our clients that we just took care of. We met him because he bought one of our listings, and he ended up having $2 million worth of real estate that he had us sell.
That's wonderful.
He didn't use. He's had several different agents over the years, and he used us, and he always uses us now.
Well, and a repeat customer says a lot.
We do.
Especially,
we get a lot of repeat customers, and we get a lot of referrals. We have CPAs and attorneys and all kinds of people refer us business because, we just strive to be the best option in the market.
I love it. I love it. I love what you guys stand for and what you're doing. And it's exciting to get the chance to talk to you.
Well, we could obviously just talk with you all day, and thank you for your suggestions and helpful advice. Honestly, we are always open to anybody's different view of how we might have greater success.
That's how we all get better, right? Especially, you mentioned in your interview with Jack that Lisa had insight because she came from a different industry. And I think it can be so valuable because something that's table stakes in one industry is a revolutionary idea in another one.
Yes.
True. Very true.
And she did bring this completely different mindset to our brokerage.
I love it. I love it.
We off and did our own thing very quickly after she joined the industry. And
then I think, well, other agents should want to do that. And
when Lisa joined the industry, she brought this outsider perspective to it. And I had been at it at that point for about, 14 years or so. And I thought, no, the agents aren't going to go for that. And I was expecting all sorts of pushback that never came.
Isn't that interesting?
I know that I need to be mindful that I could be my greatest bottleneck in whatever it is I'm doing because of whatever is happening inside of my mind. And like you, I pay a lot of attention to mindset. And yet there is some of that stuff that's just wired in there. And you're thinking,
sure,
well, that's probably true. And then it's just not true at all. And I think it was Mark Twain who said something along the lines of, it's not what's so that keeps you from having the greatest success. It's what you think is so that just ain't so. And
true.
That's not the exact quote, but that's the gist of the quote.
Close enough.
Yes. And it was like, so I thought, well, you can't lower your fees and make more money. And then in the first year of our business, offering lower fees, I made more money than I had ever made in the 14 years prior.
I love it. I love it.
He was a mega agent too.
Well, I was already a top agent, industry executive, and all this type of stuff. And then the next year we doubled it.
And you're doing so much good for people too. It's amazing.
Saving right now, I have to do the math at the end of June. But last count that I looked, we were at about $2.15 million in savings to home sellers by offering our incentivized flexible fee model.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Do you break that down by the individual too in your marketing?
It averages about $8,500 per home seller. Yeah.
That's awesome. That I think they would love to hear that. So you probably share that with them too.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It stays in the community and it stays with them. That's their home equity. And they should have it, they shouldn't be just throwing it to these brokerages.
Well, I often, we're generous people. You're the creator of the generosity culture. We're generous, and yet we're suspicious when other people are saying they're generous, but we're like, that's not really generous because we know what you're doing on the back end.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we see these people and they're donating, this big, huge check to the local company. And we're looking at it's like, hold on a second, you made $1 million of earnings this year, and you're donating $375 to the local dog shelter. That just sort of rings a little hollow. Oh, we're giving back to the community. Well, you wouldn't have to be giving back to the community if you weren't taking from the community. And this pittance that you're giving back doesn't make up for this. And then we haven't had to donate 2.15 million back to the community because we let them keep it.
We just let the people keep it and do what they want with it. We don't feel like we need to take it and then do what we want with it. Just let them keep it and do what they want with it.
When you're charging people an enormous fee, 6% of the sale price of their home, and then you're donating a couple $100 back, that sort of feels like a rounding error more than a generosity statement.
Right.
And of course, Lisa, the CPA, she was looking at the math and she said, Kevin, it's not just that it's 6% of their sale price. It's that most people still owe money on a mortgage. Mm-hmm. Their equity position is only so much. The mortgage is this, the equity position is that. And 6% of their sale price actually equals 27% of their equity position. And when
wow.
we did the math,
I bet people don't think about it like that.
They don't. And they think they don't have a choice because pretty much everybody is charging that. So we're giving them another choice. And the way we run our brokerage, it's so efficient that it doesn't hurt us to offer lower fees. It doesn't
make sense.
It doesn't hurt anything because there's just, when I walked into the real estate industry, I just saw tons of waste and inefficiencies. And, that's people's home equity that you're playing with and being inefficient with. And I just thought it was wrong and I just wanted to change it.
I love it. I think that it's an industry that needs to be shaken up, just like the financial industry, right? The only way that things are going to get better for the consumers, for the clients of these industries, is if somebody comes in and steps up the game.
And we are 100% committed to changing the residential real estate industry for the benefit of consumers. Yeah. Most people trying to change the residential real estate industry are trying to change it for the benefit of investors and stockholders and venture capital people. Oh, yeah. We're trying to change it for the benefit of the consumers while keeping real estate agents integral. Most people are not trying to keep the real estate agent integral. They're trying to do AI or virtual reality or some type of newfangled algorithm that's going to tell somebody what their home is worth. And that doesn't work. And it's not really in the best interest of the home seller or home buyer. So that's our mission, is just changing the real estate industry for the benefit of consumers, keeping real estate agents integral, and having it be a phenomenal experience for the home buyers and home sellers.
And the agents are profiting more too.
And our agents are highly profitable compared to the industry average.
Yeah. It's funny. It just seems like to me that agents sit around in their offices and they're all making like not that much money, but they're okay because they're all kind of not making that much money. So they don't really know that they could make more money. There might be one or two agents that make a ton of money, but they think, well, I can't do that.
Or I don't want to be that busy.
Yeah, I don't want to have a team. I don't want to be that busy. I don't want to pay to advertise, all this kind of stuff. And I just, I'd like to educate them for their own good so that they can make more money. Because I see our agents and ourselves, we make lots of money and there's no reason why they can't.
And we enjoy a great lifestyle while we're doing it. So
it's a great thing to share with folks. I think the one thing I would encourage you to remember, and this is any of us who want to give to others, who want them to have a better life, is that we can't want it for them. And the ones who need it the most, Lisa, are never going to do it. They just aren't.
I know, it's so frustrating.
We can't want it more than they want it.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with a home seller. If a home seller wants to sell their home, we can't want their home sold more than they want their home sold. They have to want their home sold.
They have to show up.
Right.
A home buyer, we could take somebody to an awesome home and we're like, look, I know, in my opinion, this home should be priced $30,000 higher. It's available at this price. You're going to want to paint the kitchen. You might want to redo that bathroom vanity, but that's about it. You should jump all over it. And they're like, what's a vanity cost? We're like, just buy a vanity. Doesn't matter. This is the home you want. They're like, no. Then 3 months later, they're like, I wish we had bought that house that you showed us that needed a vanity and that was $30,000. I was like, you should have. You can't want it more than they want it.
I agree 100%. And you guys are dealing with a very emotional sale on both sides. And I think that adds a layer of complexity that most sales professionals don't have to deal with. And it takes some finessing and some, I think, kid gloves handling, because everyone thinks that their house is the best house ever and is worth so much. And it's actually worth whatever someone will pay for it.
Market.
We call that kid glove treatment UN level diplomacy.
I like that.
We feel like we need to talk with these people in a very helpful, very smart, sophisticated, counseling kind of way, and yet it is their house. We are sitting at their kitchen table. They just were talking with us for 15 minutes in their bathroom. Nobody else has conversations with them in their own bathroom.
Right.
This is a very intimate financial, emotional experience. So you can only be so assertive. We do have to bear that in mind, that they've invited us into their home. So there's a high level of respect for that. And yet we say it all the time, people make mistakes. People do things that they shouldn't have done, or people refuse to do things that they should do. Mm-hmm. And we can't control that. It's not our place to say anything more than, well, you get to decide.
It makes sense.
Well, in terms of the principles of the generosity culture, what would you say are the key principles of the generosity culture?
They really are just those three things. They're that simple, but they are that important. It's just pouring into your employees, your clients, and your community.
Which makes perfect sense. So pouring into those three areas, and then everything comes from that, which makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. So from your perspective, what is better for your company financially if you have people as brokers growing that way, or the franchise model?
We actually make more money to have the agents be in our brokerage. We would have to open up locations in all the states, and we would actually make more money that way, but it's not best for the agents. So we were trying to go the other way so that they could create their own businesses and change their world,
Their world will still be better as agents for us.
Their world will be better as agents for us. But me, being a CPA, it's like, you need to get your broker license, get out there, have your own business that you own. With our guidance, with all of our years of experience, we can guide them if they get into a sticky situation or have a question. Then we're here for them at very little. And I'm just always trying to do what's best for the other person.
I love it.
We just really appreciate you taking the time to be on our podcast.
Oh, my pleasure.
If there was anything else that you wanted to be certain that real estate agents or consumers understood about your philosophy with the generosity culture, what would that be?
I think that you could never go wrong with approaching any given situation in life, whether it be personally or professionally, with the thought of, how can I help? How can I offer value here? I think that some of the best relationships, be them business or personal, develop from that kind of intent.
I would agree.
I agree too. Agree. I mean,
that's how you answers the phone usually when you get somebody on the other end of the phone. Kevin always says, "How can I help?"
I say,
I love it.
When I answer the phone, I say, "Kevin Cahill, may I help you?" And I've answered the phone that way for 22 years. Mm-hmm. And it's a genuine question. May I help you? And
okay, can I add something to that? And this is funny. This is a little neurolinguistic programming, but it could make that even more powerful. Instead of, can I help you? Because that's a yes or no question. And there's a whole subset of people that don't ever want to ask for help. Mm-hmm. Make it an assumptive close and say, how can I help you? Just assume that you can. How? And it's similarly when I do training, and this might be very helpful for you with your real estate folks, is what questions do you have?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Very good. And that's interesting. I'm just going to add the word how when I answer the phone. How may I help you?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird? Because there are people, some of the most effective people won't ask for help.
And they should, and they probably get plenty of help. And yet, it's interesting when you understand those little triggers, then you can actually make yourself available in a greater way.
Absolutely.
April, if people want to reach out to you, follow you, understand what you do, how can they find you?
Absolutely. So the great thing is I am the only April Sphrintz in the United States, but spelling that last name can be difficult. So you can definitely find me on LinkedIn. I am on Instagram, and my website, drivenoutcomes.com, also has a lot of free resources. It'll direct you to my YouTube channel and also some free resources that you can have for your business and your mindset as well.
Well, it's been absolutely wonderful having you. It's great to actually have this opportunity to talk with you directly. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you both.
You've been listening to Gross Commission, Truth in Real Estate Brokerages with Kevin Cahill,
and Lisa Cahill,
where we help you understand the truth about the real estate brokerage industry so you can make smart decisions about your real estate career, earn more money, and keep more of the money you make. Visit us at reallean.com to learn more about our company and to access our resources. Franchise opportunities are available across the country.
Please be sure to subscribe to our podcast and share with your friends. Goodbye for now.